It appears the Speaker has left the podium. He is coming back now, and the House should be gaveling in shortly. The Senate President is at his podium, and we will record today's Senate proceedings and show them to you once the House floor session has ended.
House will be in order. All those not having privileges to the floor will please vacate the chamber. Members and guests will please rise as we are led in prayer today by the gentleman from the 27th, Delegate Gerhardt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Please bow in prayer. Father, your presence warms us on this day when your warmth is needed more than any other. We thank you for the great honor of being here as representatives of the citizens of the great state of West Virginia. Remind us that our service is in your name and to accomplish your will on earth. Bless and guide our work and give us the wisdom to assure that all of our efforts benefit our state and all West Virginians. In the name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Members and guests will please remain standing as we're led in the Pledge of Allegiance by the gentleman from the 30th, Delegate Bates.
Please join me in honoring our country and our flag with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reading of the Journal.
Journal of the House of Delegates, Charleston, Monday, January 18th, 2016.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from the 23rd, Delegate Nelson.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that the further reading of the journal be dispensed with and that it be approved as having been read.
Gentleman from the 23rd asks unanimous consent that further reading of the journal be dispensed with and it be approved as having been read. Is there objection? Chair hears none. Journal be approved as having been read. Gentleman from the 58th.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a citation presentation honoring Higher Education Day at the Legislature. With us to accept the citation are the Chancellor of West Virginia Higher Education Policy Commission, the Chancellor of West Virginia Community and Technical College Education System, Executive Director of the West Virginia Independent College and Universities, and Presidents of West Virginia's public and independent higher education institutions. Escorting our honored guests are Delegates Espinoza, Duke, Perry, and Moy.
It's Higher Education Day at the Legislature, so what you're seeing are all the college presidents from around the state have gathered in the House floor for a picture with the House Speaker and to receive a citation from the House regarding higher education in the state.
Whereas Tuesday, January 19th, 2016 is Higher Education Day, and whereas West Virginia's colleges and universities have advanced the knowledge base of our students and helped them to achieve career goals while helping our state to meet the needs of its economy. And whereas West Virginia's colleges and universities have contributed to the advancement of the state and enriched the culture and life of their communities. And whereas West Virginia's colleges and universities have advanced the development of technology, conducted groundbreaking research, and partnered with business and industry. And whereas West Virginia's colleges and universities, by virtue of their many outstanding contributions to this state, are deserving of honor and recognition on Higher Education Day. Therefore, the House of Delegates hereby acknowledges and commemorates Higher Education Day and bestows its sincere gratitude to the state's independent and public colleges and universities. The entire membership extends best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this citation be presented on this 19th day of January 2016.
Members will please be at ease a moment while I present the citation.
the House of Delegates giving a standing ovation to college presidents as they received a citation from the House of Delegates this morning.
Members will please escort our guests from the chamber. Sure.
Yeah, we made it too bright.
Gentleman from the 58th.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a citation presentation honoring Ripley High School archery team. To accept the citation, we have with us the team and the coaches from Ripley High School. Escorting them to the chamber is Delegate Westfall.
Clerk will please read the citation.
Whereas the 2004 Ripley High School was selected as a pilot school to introduce the National Archery in Schools program into their physical education curriculum. In 2005, the program was permanently adopted, and whereas there were no formal competitions in the state at that time, thus in 2004-2005, Ripley High School and Ravenswood High School physical education classes competed once a year, switching locations between the two schools. And whereas the first West Virginia State Tournament and individual competition event was held by the West Virginia Department of Natural Resources in 2006 at Capitol High School. And whereas Nathan Randolph was the first to capture the title of state champion. And whereas since the assemblage of the first team competition in 2007, the Ripley High School archery team has won consecutively every championship excluding the year 2010. And whereas the 2015 state finishers include the following: Nick Rhodes, first place; Levi Statz, third place; Corey Hill, fifth place; Jacob Williams, sixth place; Sarah Welling, fourth place; and Andrea Weeds, 10th place. And whereas the Ripley High School archery team placed fourth in the NASP World Archery Tournament in 2014 and placed 18th in the NASP National Archery Tournament in 2015. And whereas 3 archers were selected for the NASP All-American team. The archers include Brandon Harpold, 2011, Levi Statz, 2013, and Kayla Goodson, 2014. And whereas 3 archers were named conference champs in the 2015 Appalachian Archery Conference. The archers include Nick Rhodes, Jacob Williams, and Corey Hill. And whereas the team coaches, Tess Gump and Tom Crook, helped lead the archers to the competitions. Proud supporters of the team are Ripley High School Principal Will Hoslefuk and Jackson County Superintendent Blaine Hess. Therefore, the House of Delegates of the West Virginia Legislature hereby applauds the Ripley High School archery team and directs this citation be presented in their honor.
Members will please be at ease a moment while I present the citation. Introduction of guests. Gentleman from the 34th, Delegate Boggs.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the gentleman from the 33rd and me, we would like to welcome, not only was President Pete Barr from Glenville State College here, but in the West Gallery we have staff from Glenville State College, and then we have the Hidden Promise Scholars, two of them here today, Ashley Parsons and Marcus Frazier, if they would stand, and also the Hidden Promise staff, Teresa Stearns and Stacy Adkins. Please make them very welcome.
The gentleman from the 15th, Delegate Foster.
Mr. Speaker, we have a few individuals from the construction industry around the state here today. Phil Hutchison from Heritage Fire, Jeff Kelly from Bicon Services, Jennifer Casey and John Casey from Casey Construction, Tom Kittredge from Canal Stone and Terradon Engineering, and my father, Ron Foster from Foster Supply, and Sam Proctor from and Julie Zucker from Veritas Construction. If they would stand in the House, make them feel welcome.
Gentleman from the 10th, Delegate Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would you join a delegation from Wood County in making representatives from West Virginia University Parkersburg welcome today? In the gallery we have Senator Gowdy, Elizabeth Godfrey, Tess Martin, and Tim Keene. Would you join me, please, in putting your hands together and make these folks welcome? Thank you.
The gentleman from the 37th, Delegate Pushkin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we have paging for us Mr. Ryan Sharp, who is a 5th grader at Mary C. Snow Westside Elementary. I don't see him here right now. When you see him, please make him feel welcome. But also, he is accompanied by Mr. Jim Kiger, who is a teacher over at Mary C. Snow Westside Elementary. And I'm going to go on faith and say that he is seated in the West Gallery, if you could make them both feel welcome.
Gentleman from the 29th, Delegate Moy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of Delegate Bates and me, we are pleased to have with us paging today students from Hollywood Elementary. And as I call your names, will you please stand up and wave? If you're in here, wave to everyone. We have Chance Adkins. He's accompanied by his parents, Deborah and James. We have Jackson Quattrone and his parents are Philip and Christy Quattrone. We have Nate Hodges and his mother, Tamber Hodges, who happens to also be the principal of Hollywood Elementary. And we also have Bryant Hill, and Bryant's mother is Bambi Hill. Would the House please make all of our guests welcome?
Gentleman from the 58th, Delegate Coles.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, for our Doctor of the Day program today, we've been joined in the back of the chamber by Dr. Nick Chafin of Huntington. If the House will please make the doctor welcome.
Further introductions. On behalf of the Kanawha County delegation, we have paging for us today Colby Taylor, I believe is in the chamber. He is a 5th grader at Kennedy Elementary School. I'd ask that the House make him welcome. Reports of standing committees.
Your Committee on Government Organization has had under consideration House Bill 4031, requiring agencies to respond to public comments received during the rulemaking process. Reports back to committee substitute, therefore, with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass.
Report be received.
Your Chairman on Judiciary has had under consideration House Bill 4002, relating to rulemaking under the State Administrative Procedures Act. Reports back to committee substitute, therefore, with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass.
Report be received.
Committee on Judiciary has had under consideration House Bill 4007, relating generally to appointment of attorneys to assist the Attorney General. Reports back to committee substitute, therefore, with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass.
Report be received. Reports of select committees. Messages from the executive.
In accordance with the provisions of West Virginia Code, as chairpersons of the Legislative Rulemaking Review Committee, we submit this reports of its activities. And in accordance with the provisions of West Virginia Code, we've attached copies of the proposed legislative rules. Sincerely, Mark Maynard, Senate. Kelly Sabunia, House of Delegates.
Message be received. Messages from the Senate. Resolutions. Petitions. Motions. Bills introduced.
House Bill 4144 by Delegates Westfall, McCuskey, and others, relating to risk-based capital reporting for health organizations.
Gentleman from 58.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent that further reading of bills introduced be dispensed with, and that each bill be formally introduced and referred to the appropriate committee as listed on the chamber automation system.
The gentleman from 58 asks unanimous consent that further reading of bills introduced be dispensed with, that each bill be considered formally introduced and referred to the appropriate committees as indicated on the chamber automation system. Is there objection? Chair hears none. Bills will be so introduced and referred. Unfinished business. Bills on third reading. Bills on second reading.
House Bill 4033, adding criminal penalties for the unauthorized practice of pharmacist care.
Are there amendments? Not the bill be engrossed and advanced to third reading. Bills on first reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 2101, eliminating obsolete government entities.
Bill be advanced. Leaves of absence. Remarks by members of the House. The gentleman from the 17th, Delegate Rohrbach.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to give the members of this body some bad news about something that happened in Huntington. And I think it ought to be a lesson and a message for all of us. I don't know if you saw, it's reported by the media. We lost 120 jobs yesterday in Huntington. CSX Railroad shut down the Huntington Division, dissolved it. I'm going to give you a little history about what the Huntington Division was. was founded by Collis P. Huntington himself. Railroad got to Huntington in 1873. They have continuously transacted business on the spot that they vacated yesterday for 143 years. I want to repeat that again, 143 years. This is one of the longest standing businesses in continuous operation in this state. And I'm going to challenge you that this speaks to the fact that, folks, our state's getting away from us. They had 10 divisions in the CSX system. They closed one, dissolved it. This didn't happen to 9 other divisions. The railroad that was founded by the founder of Huntington, Collis P. Huntington, he explored the New River Gorge in little boats to see if we could even get the railroad from Virginia to Huntington, picked Huntington as his terminus, designed the city. There's a statue to Collis P. Huntington that stood stand in front of that building for 100 years. It was commissioned by Gutzon Borglum. You may remember him, the fellow that did Mount Rushmore. This was the fiber of our city. And I would challenge you, it's a lot of the fiber of this state. Now, this is probably collateral damage from the war on coal, and we've certainly seen a lot of that around this state. And we're going to see more of it, unfortunately. But this speaks also to the poor business climate. They could have selected other divisions to close. They didn't do it. They selected Collis P. Huntington's own section of that railroad to close because of the poor climate in our business. So as we go about our business the next 50-some days, I want us to remember the 120 people that lost their jobs yesterday and the fact that one of the, if not the longest operating business in this state in one continuous spot chose to leave this state yesterday. Now, I think that had better give this body reason for grave concern because, friends, our state's getting away from us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further remarks by members? Miscellaneous business. Gentleman from the 58th.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Subject to announcements, I move the House stand adjourned until 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Are there announcements? Gentleman from the 64th, Delegate Householder.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Committee on Finance will meet tomorrow morning beginning at 9 a.m. for the Department of Revenue budget hearing and at 10 a.m. for the Lottery Commission budget hearing. The committee will meet again in the afternoon beginning at 2 p.m. for the budget hearing of the Auditor's Office. And to the members on the committee, the material is at your desk if you want to review it early. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from 38, Delegate Lane.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, the Committee on the Judiciary will meet tomorrow morning, Wednesday, January 20th at 9 a.m. in the House Judiciary Committee room. The agenda will be posted.
Gentleman from the 61st, Delegate Duke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Education will meet tomorrow, Wednesday, January 20th at 2 p.m. in the Education Committee room, 432M. On the agenda is a presentation by on Every Student Succeeds Act.
Lady from the 31st, Delegate Arbonne.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Government Organization will meet at 9 a.m. tomorrow in the Government Organization Committee Room, 215 East. The agenda will be posted. And Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Government Organization will meet at 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon in the Government Organization Committee Room, 215 East. The agenda will be posted. And Mr. Speaker, your Republican members of the Committee on Government Organization will caucus today at 12:30 p.m. in the Chairman's office. And one more request, if I may, Mr. Speaker, I would ask that the gentleman's remarks from Cabell County be printed in the appendix of the journal. Thank you.
Without objection, remarks will be printed. The lady from the 49th, Delegate Summers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Health and Human Resources will meet today at 2:30 in room 215E. The agenda is posted.
Lady from the 65th, Delegate Upson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Women's Caucus will meet tomorrow immediately following the session in room 252. Lunch will be provided.
Gentleman from the 15th, Delegate Foster.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Associated Builders and Contractors will be in the McManus room discussing construction issues, and they will be feeding us. Thank you.
The gentleman from the 35th, Delegate Stansberry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Select Committee on the Prevention and Treatment of Substance Abuse will meet today at 2 p.m. in the Government Organization Room. Thank you.
Lady from the 3rd, Delegate Storch.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Political Subdivisions will meet today at 1 o'clock in the Education Room, and the agenda is posted. Thank you.
The gentleman from the 4th, Delegate Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Veterans Affairs Committee will meet tomorrow, Wednesday at 1 p.m. in the House Education Room, and the chairs and vice chairs of Veterans Affairs and Homeland Security are asked to meet about 30 minutes before in the House Education Room. Thank you.
Gentleman from the 17th, Delegate Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of Delegate Orbach and myself, we have a very special page today from Huntington East Middle School. We have Abby Randon. Would ask that she stand and the House make her welcome.
Gentleman from the 10th, Delegate Azinger.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a reminder to all Prayer Caucus members, we will be meeting every morning 5 minutes before session right here in the foyer. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman from the 16th, Delegate Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Two announcements. The minority members of the House Government Organization will caucus very briefly at this desk after this session. And those of you who bleed green or partially bleed green, the new president of Marshall University, Dr. Jerry Gilbert, will be in room 231E. You all know where that is because you lived in it for a while down there. To meet any members who would like to personally welcome Dr. Gilbert to the Marshall University campus and to West Virginia. Thank you.
Gentleman from the 67th, Delegate Skinner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Democratic members of the Judiciary Committee will caucus at 11:50 today in GovOrg. That's 11:50 today in GovOrg.
Gentleman from the 50th, Delegate Caputo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Democratic members of the House will caucus today at noon in the Government Organization Committee Room, room 215E.
Gentleman from the 8th, Delegate Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Republican members of the House will caucus at noon today in the chamber.
Further announcements. The lady from the 51st, Delegate Fleischauer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Democratic members of Health and Human Resources will caucus in room 252 at 1:30 on Thursday.
Further announcements. Not the question for the House. This is a motion by a gentleman from the 58th that the House stand adjourned until 11 a.m. tomorrow. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. Declare the House adjourned until 11 a.m. tomorrow.
A short session for the House of Delegates today. We apologize, but the State Senate chamber is still having audio difficulties. They are in session right now, but the volume is so low in their audio feed that it is unairable. We cannot broadcast it, so we will be unable to bring you today's Senate session. We know that Senate staff is working on that audio issue, and we hope that it will be remedied very soon. Today on the West Virginia Channel, oral arguments from the state Supreme Court on the case of which political party gets the seat in the state Senate. Senator Daniel Hall of Wyoming County was elected a Democrat but switched to Republican to give that party the majority in the Senate in 2014. Hall resigned earlier this month, and the court is being asked to decide if the seat belongs to the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. You will be able to watch the proceedings here on the West Virginia Channel or on our website, wvpublic.org, at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Our thanks to the justices and the staff of the Supreme Court for making this broadcast possible. So this concludes today's broadcast of the West Virginia Legislature on the West Virginia Channel. A program reminder, the Legislature Today, our nightly broadcast of legislative news and information, airs at 6:30 and 11:30 every weeknight on West Virginia PBS. The Legislature Today will be repeated weeknights at 10 and weekday mornings at 6:30 here on the West Virginia Channel. We will be back at 1 o'clock to present oral arguments from the West Virginia Supreme Court on the West Virginia Channel. I'm Beth Voorhees for the West Virginia Channel, a service of West Virginia Public Broadcasting.